Hey, so funny update. So since the last video, I had changed the entire rockscape here. Sorry for the blues. I don't have one of those orange filters for it. But so I really wasn't happy with the old aquarium. Yeah, well, the old layout, the rock structure. I was messing with it, and one of the rock structures fell over. So I ended up redoing the whole thing, and I know it kind of looks like a pile of rocks here, but I'm actually more happy with it with what my future plans are. Well, that top rock up there, that white one, is going to come out. It's not going to stay there. But I'm going to, have basically a wall of coral here. And I have gotten a few more pieces. So down here, right there, I got a mushroom. I have moved the frog spawn over here. Um, he's not open right now, but I'll get more of that here in just a minute. I've also gotten, oh, down here. I lost that Zoa uh, due to stupidity on my part, but um, yeah. So I've also gotten another Euphilia. Looks to be another type of frog spawn there. Um, my GSP, of course, still. I got Kryptonite Candy Cane right there, and I got another Zoa thing over there. And up here, so I thought this was originally a Montipora. It may actually be, but it may also be the, what is it, the Ciespra? Something to that effect. I'm going to get an ID now that it's recovering. So if you see in the middle there, that dead spot, again, stupidity on my part, but I was able to save it to where it didn't die entirely. Um, it was due to me testing my water, not testing calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity, and they had gotten so far out of whack that um, that coral started dying. I ended up finally starting to test for that and getting them in line, so that ended up the coral started recovering. I thought I was going to lose everything. That one, um, the frog spawn, and I thought as well as that Zoa. But the frog spawn hung in there, even though it's looking a little rough. I don't know if you see that. I panicked this week, and I was like, "Oh, what's that brown?" You can't tell in the blues, but that little piece of skeleton there is brown. So I was like, "Oh no, is it brown jelly disease?" So I just pulled it out and tried to put it in a little container. And I was going to dip it iodine and suck it off to try to save it. Suck it off. Use a turkey baster and pull off the dead flesh. But I found out that that's all skeleton. It's hard. It's not. It's not jelly at all. It's skeleton. So I'm hoping that means that I can save it. If anyone's watching this and you have any tips, there's still some things that I'm not happy with the aquarium that I'm learning. I'm watching every video and reading everything that I can. I've had this tank for about a year now, but real effort. First couple months, obviously, I got it set up enough for fish only. But when I decided to start adding corals, I'm still learning more on. So I got some GSP as a tiny little frag, and it's thriving. I ended up having to it took over that little rock that I put it on, and that's where it's going to stay. Um, and the frog spawn I got it right around the same time that I got the GSP, but isn't growing at all. Like, I really wish it would come out to show you the extension. It's not extending as much as I would like, and it's not really growing that well. So I ended up moving it, obviously. It was in some pretty heavy flow because I've got a reef. This is a 90 gallon, and I've been running a Reef Wave 45. It's overkill. So the frog spawn was right there in the middle, looking like it was dabbing because it was all to the side the entire time. And I know now I shouldn't have done that. Someone told me they liked high flow, medium to high flow. So that's what I went by. Now comes to find out that they like low, low to moderate, bottom of the moderate flow. So I moved it there behind these rocks. I've disabled the Reef Wave. It's no longer on right now because I can't get it to connect to the Reef Wave app to my home network, so I can't throttle it down. I've called Reef Wave tech support, and I'm waiting for them to help me. But no luck so far, so I've disabled it. I'm still running my old Voyager from that I got when I first started the tank. It still works. Love it. And back when I was running it only is when the frog spawn was actually doing pretty well. In fact, the frog spawn used to be where this other Euphilia is right now. And it's got enough movement, and there's pretty good extension, even though my lights just turned on. The Euphilia is extending pretty well. So, I think I'm going to keep the Voyager until I can throttle it down. Let's see. If anyone can ID this for me, because I bought it from a catch-all frag. It's from a local fish store. Well, not local, up in Nashville, Tennessee. And it said, buy 3 frags, $20. And this was a tiny little piece in the center of the frag. They didn't tell me what name it was. I just liked the colors. It's kind of pink and with those green spots on it. And it looked like an encrusting coral, and that's what I wanted for. I thought it was originally going to be a plating coral, and that's what I really want right there in that spot is a plating coral. But I don't know if it's actually going to do that or not. Let's see, what else? Funny story. So I do have a red Planera flatworm not issue, because I think they're being controlled now. But I did get a 6-line wrasse, which you can see him messing with the GSP right there. Right there. So that's the second one I bought. First one, I went to the local fish store, picked it up, put it in the tank. 24 hours later, gone. Couldn't find him. I was like, oh no. Oh, there's the other one. No, that's the Royal Grandma. I don't know where the other one went. Where was I? Oh, local fish store. Yeah, I went there, got one, and it disappeared. So I was like, crap. All right, the other fish didn't like him. The Royal Grandma killed him. Whatever. So I went back. After looking for him for an entire week, that's when I moved the rocks. So the rocks used to be in basically two little columns, one on this side of the tank, one on this side of the tank. And there wasn't a lot of places to hide. And that's when I went looking for him, and I knocked over the rock structure. Nothing. He was nowhere in the tank. I had every rock in this tank out. And so I went and bought another one. I was like, I need to get these flatworms under control. So I know the 6-line wrasse are supposed to eat them. So while I was up there, I picked up the 6-line wrasse and the goby. Diamond goby there at the bottom, because I needed one to turn over my sand bed. And got back. And I started doing my routine tank maintenance. It was at the end of the week, so I usually on the weekend, Saturday, I do the sump work. And I clean the filter socks, etc. Well, I went to go dump the filter sock, and there's a fish flopping around in my bucket and it was the 6-line wrasse. Apparently, he had come up here, went over the overflow somehow, because I've got a lid on this thing. Somehow he got in that overflow, and because he didn't go into the return pump, obviously, because there's a tiny slit, but went through the pipe work all the way into the sump and was living in the filter sock. So I called the local fish store and they're like, yeah, just bring one back. And I had at that time, I had the other one acclimating and I was getting the temperature acclimated and I was going to drip it to put it in the tank. So it was still in the bag. So I was in the other room calling the local fish store and they said, just bring it back. Apparently these things are jumpers. So I came back and the guy, this 6-line wrasse, the new one, had jumped in the tank with the old one because I had put that one back in. I was going to keep the original one because I like getting fish when they're smaller and growing them instead of already buying a full-grown fish, which you can tell by the baby, well, not the baby, but the small blue tang in my 90-gallon. I'm fully prepared for the tang police to come out and say, you shouldn't have that in anything less than a 120. But he's real tiny. He's about an inch, 2 inches long. But anyway, I digress. I get sidetracked a lot. Sorry. The 6-line wrasse. Put him in there to eat the plein air, the flatworms. He's with 2 of them in there. It looks like they're getting along so far. They won't continue, I imagine, but right now they're doing their job. They're eating the plein airs. I also got this flatworm RX, and I'll tell you, this isn't worth anything. I've dosed it twice, and they haven't even wiggled. The flatworms haven't even wiggled a little bit. I've done the recommended dosage with this. So this is a 90-gallon tank with, let's say a 20-gallon sump. I know it's like a 30-gallon sump, but let's say there's 20 gallons in there. 110 gallons, 4 drops per 10 gallons. That's roughly about 44 to 44 drops. I even went as high as 48 drops just to make sure the second time. And the flatworms aren't even wiggling. It hadn't slowed them down at all. Oh, good. The zoas are coming out. I really like these zoas. They're Green Bay Packer zoas. They're really, really tiny. I'm starting a new zoa garden over here. Well, tell me what y'all think. So I'm putting the zoa garden right over there. If I keep running this thing, they're going to be in low flow area because I've got it pointed up. It's going all the way around and coming back. So that's a low flow area. And I know the candy cane likes low flow, so that's why he's sitting there. Should I move the zoas? Because I know mushrooms also like low flow. I can move the mushroom over yonder and move the zoas over here. Or, I could, if I can get help on the reef wave, and I know I need to clean that algae up there. I haven't done that this week yet. But if I get the help with the reef wave, then I'll turn it back on and then turn off the Voyager if I can dial down the flow. Regardless, this frog spawn is going to be in a low flow area. You can kind of see the brown. You can see the brown now where I was freaking out thinking it was brown jelly disease. But that's not. That's actually skeleton, which I know is not a good thing. That's due to my negligence about 4 months ago. I think the tentacles receded. I hope that's what it is. I hope it's not dying because I love frog. That's my favorite coral so far. What else? I think I've talked a lot. All of now y'all can see my mismatched rocks. But I think it has potential here. Yeah, I could watch this all day. But anyway, I'll cut off the video there. Let me know what y'all think. Leave comments. Help me out here. Help me learn. But be gentle.